5 smart responses that will silence anyone. There is a moment most people know too well, even if they never describe it out loud. Someone says your name with that tone. A coworker cuts you down in front of the room. A relative smiles while slipping a blade between your ribs. A stranger decides your dignity is cheap enough to play with in public. And in less than a second, your body chooses war. Your chest tightens. Your jaw locks. Heat crawls up your neck. Your mind starts writing a speech it will regret 5 minutes later and replay all night. That is how social humiliation works in the modern world. It is rarely loud at first. It is subtle, performative, polished. A small act of disrespect wrapped in confidence, meant to provoke you into destroying your own composure. Here is the uncomfortable truth: the person who insults you is not always trying to beat you with words. Sometimes they are trying to make you reveal that you have no command over yourself. And once you react on impulse, the room no longer remembers what they said. It remembers that they moved you. So in this video, we are going to walk through 5 smart Stoic responses that silence disrespect without begging for approval, without losing your center, and without sinking to the level of people who feed on chaos. And stay with me, because the final response is the one most people resist the most. It is also the one that exposes whether your pain comes from their disrespect, or from your own ego still asking strangers for permission to feel worthy. This matters now more than ever because we do not live in a world that rewards depth. We live in a world that rewards display. Outrage is performative. Confidence is often counterfeit. People learn how to look powerful long before they learn how to be peaceful. Social media made this worse, but it did not invent it. It only revealed what has always been true: many people do not want connection. They want leverage. They do not speak to understand. They speak to dominate, to test, to position, to see who in the room can be controlled with the smallest amount of pressure. The Stoics understood something brutal and liberating at the same time: your real enemy is not the insult. Your real enemy is the part of you that still panics when someone outside you tries to define you. That is why this is not just a video about clever comebacks. It is about sovereignty. It is about what happens in the split second when society invites you to become reactive, predictable, and easy to manipulate. We are going to move through this in 5 parts. First, the pause that breaks the aggressor's rhythm. Second, the reframing that strips poison from the words. Third, the shift from anger to lucid pity. Fourth, the disciplined use of silence. And fifth, the deepest test of all, the moment you ask whether the insult hurt because it was cruel, or because part of you fears it touched something true. Let's start where every real encounter starts, in the body. Imagine you are at work. The meeting is already tense. Everyone is guarding their image. Then someone interrupts you with a smug little line about how you always make things more complicated than they need to be. A few people laugh, not because it was clever, but because people are terrified of standing on the wrong side of confidence. In that instant, you feel the ancient machinery wake up inside you. You want to strike back, correct the record, embarrass them harder than they embarrassed you. This is where most people lose. They think strength means immediate retaliation. Or they collapse into silence and call it self-control when it is really wounded submission. But there is a third path, and it belongs to people who understand power at a deeper level. Not theatrical power. Not noisy power. Clean power. The kind that does not tremble when tested. 1. The objective pause. The first smart response is not verbal. It is structural. It is the objective pause. When disrespect lands, your nervous system wants speed. It wants to close the gap between stimulus and reaction. That is exactly why you must slow the moment down. A breath. A still face. A steady posture. A deliberate refusal to rush toward defense. Even 5 seconds can change the hierarchy of the encounter. Why? Because the person provoking you is usually working with an invisible assumption that they can control your tempo. That they can throw a spark and watch you burn on command. The pause breaks that illusion. It tells the room, without saying a word, that you are not operating inside their emotional timeline. This is not passive. This is strategic. Epictetus taught that we are disturbed not by events themselves, but by our judgments about them. An insult, before you interpret it, is sound. Air. Vibration. The body may react, yes, but the mind still has authority if you train it to step in before the tongue does. In real life, this can look almost small. You inhale once before answering. You relax your shoulders instead of leaning forward. You let the other person sit in the echo of what they just said. That silence often does more to expose them than any dramatic comeback ever could. And there is something else here that people rarely admit. The pause protects you from becoming content for other people's dysfunction. Some people want a scene. They want your anger because it rescues them from their own ugliness. Once you react, the conversation is no longer about their disrespect. It becomes a spectacle about your reaction. The pause denies them that escape. Ask yourself in that moment, does this person's opinion have the power to alter the truth of who I am? If a bitter man calls the sky ugly, the sky does not rush down to defend its color. The pause is your refusal to hand authority to someone whose words may reveal far more about their hunger than your character. 2. Cognitive reframing. The second smart response is the strategy of cognitive reframing. Most insults arrive dressed as verdicts. You're weak. You're not respected. No one takes you seriously. The untrained mind swallows the emotional tone first and only later looks at the content. A Stoic reverses that order. You strip the sentence down to its bones and examine it without drama. Is there any truth in what was said? That question is not weakness. It is discipline. If there is some truth there, then what felt like an attack may contain instruction. Maybe your communication does need clarity. Maybe your boundaries have been inconsistent. Maybe your people-pleasing made you appear uncertain. If so, then the insult becomes raw material. Not a wound. Not an identity. Data. But if there is no truth in it, then the insult becomes even smaller. It is no longer a message about you. It is evidence about the other person. Their envy. Their projection. Their need to lower someone else because they cannot elevate themselves honestly. This matters because society trains us to experience disrespect as contamination. As if another person's bad opinion can stain us simply by being spoken aloud. But a lie about you does not become truth because it was said confidently. In America especially, people are surrounded by performance every day, curated personas, boardroom politics, social media certainty, fake confidence dressed as leadership. A loud opinion is often just insecurity wearing good shoes. So when someone throws poison, do not drink it just because it was served in a crystal glass. Think of the insult like weather. If rain starts falling, you do not take it personally. You decide whether to carry an umbrella, change direction, or keep walking. The storm belongs to the sky, not to your soul. Reframing allows you to separate what happened from the meaning your ego is trying to attach to it. This is one of the most practical forms of emotional freedom. Because once you learn to extract fact from tone, you stop being bullied by delivery. You stop confusing volume with validity. You stop treating every rude sentence like prophecy. 3. The mirror of pity. The third response is harder, more mature, and far more powerful than anger. It is the mirror of pity. Not soft pity. Not sentimental pity. Clear-eyed pity. A person who constantly needs to belittle others is not standing on a mountain. They are standing over a hole, trying not to fall in. Healthy, grounded people do not spend their energy humiliating others for sport. They do not need little performances of superiority to feel real. When someone goes out of their way to shame, provoke, or diminish, they are telling you something important about the architecture of their inner life. They are not at peace. Maybe they are threatened. Maybe they are envious. Maybe they learned that cruelty creates status. Maybe they are carrying humiliation they never processed and now they pass it around like inheritance. Whatever the reason, the insult is often less a weapon than a confession. This is where a little Machiavellian realism helps. Society is more theatrical than most people want to admit. Many interactions are not pure. They are coded. People test rank, composure, emotional weakness, and social leverage in ordinary conversations. They smile while measuring where to press. They joke while searching for insecurity. They flatter upward and sneer downward. Once you understand this, you stop being shocked by disrespect. You see it as information. And information is easier to handle than injury. So instead of looking at the aggressor as powerful, look at them accurately. See the restless person behind the performance. See the ego begging the room for confirmation. See the inner poverty that needs an audience. Suddenly the words lose their magic. Venom works only when you believe the snake is a dragon. This shift from anger to pity is not about excusing bad behavior. It is about refusing to misread it. The moment you see someone's disrespect as a symptom rather than a verdict, you reclaim your balance. Their chaos stops feeling personal. You are no longer the target in the story. You are the surface they chose to throw their unrest against. 4. Sovereign silence. The fourth smart response is sovereign silence. This is where many people get uncomfortable, because silence feels like surrender when your ego is inflamed. But often the strongest response is the one that withholds access. Not every challenge deserves engagement. Not every accusation deserves a defense. Not every disrespectful person has earned a place at your mental table. There are moments in life when a concise verbal boundary is necessary. Of course. But many situations are not asking for explanation. They are baiting you into participation. And participation is expensive. It costs clarity. It costs peace. It costs dignity. The person who can make you argue over your own value has already extracted something from you. Sovereign silence says, you do not get to rent space in my inner world just because you knocked loudly. In practice, this might look like a calm glance, a neutral face, and a return to your work. It might look like refusing to answer the sarcastic text. It might look like not explaining yourself for the 10th time to someone committed to misunderstanding you. It might look like ending the interaction with fewer words than your ego wants. This kind of silence is devastating because it reveals independence. You are not silent because you have nothing to say. You are silent because you have measured the exchange and decided it is beneath the cost of your energy. People who live on emotional extraction hate this. They can handle anger. They can even enjoy it. Anger proves access. Anger proves they found the wire. But calm indifference? That unnerves them. Because now they have to sit with the possibility that their attempt to disturb you failed so completely it never even became a real event in your mind. There is a sentence worth remembering here. Arguing with every insult is like opening your front door every time a stranger kicks it. You do not owe entry to every noise outside your house. 5. The check of internal ego. Now we come to the deepest response, and the one that separates performance from real inner work, the check of the internal ego. Sometimes the reason disrespect hurts is not because the insult was powerful. It hurts because it collides with an insecurity you were already carrying in silence. That is the part most people do not want to face. A comment about your competence stings because you already doubt yourself. A remark about aging cuts deep because you are grieving your own changing face. A dismissal from someone successful rattles you because part of you still worships status. In other words, the insult is not always creating the pain. Sometimes it is locating it. This is not bad news. It is useful news. Marcus Aurelius wrote constantly about returning to the inner citadel, the place where your judgment can remain clean even when the world outside is noisy, unfair, and theatrical. But you cannot guard that inner citadel honestly if you refuse to notice which gates are already weak. The insult can expose them. So ask, in private and without self-hatred, why did that land so hard? What image of myself was I trying to protect? What praise have I become addicted to? Whose approval still has too much authority over my nervous system? This is where the script of modern society begins to break. Because much of public life runs on image maintenance. Reputation. Signaling. Looking competent, desirable, unfazed, superior. People spend years building identities they are terrified to have questioned. Then one small insult enters the room and suddenly they discover how fragile the structure really was. A Stoic life does not ask you to become emotionless. It asks you to become honest. Honest enough to see that your dignity cannot be built on other people's applause. Honest enough to understand that self-command matters more than image. Honest enough to let disrespect become a mirror instead of a prison. When you do this, something changes. You stop chasing the impossible task of controlling every mind in the room. You focus on the one mind you were actually given stewardship over, your own. And that changes how you move. You breathe before reacting. You observe before interpreting. You measure before speaking. You choose principle over performance. Then, slowly, disrespect loses its old power. Not because the world becomes kinder. It will not. There will always be manipulative people, insecure people, performative people, cruel people, bored people looking for friction just to feel alive. But their existence no longer dictates your state. You begin to move through modern life with a different kind of gravity. Less easily hooked. Less eager to prove. Less available for emotional theater. That is real strength. So let's bring it all together. When disrespect comes, first pause and break the rhythm of reactivity. Second, reframe the insult and separate fact from emotional theater. Third, see the aggressor clearly and recognize that cruelty often reveals inner weakness, not superiority. Fourth, use sovereign silence when engagement would only feed the dysfunction. And fifth, examine your own ego, because sometimes the greatest freedom comes not from defeating the other person, but from understanding why their words reached you at all. If you live this way, people will notice something different about you. Not louder. Not colder. Stronger. Harder to manipulate. Harder to provoke. More rooted. And in a culture that monetizes outrage and rewards whoever can pull the biggest reaction out of the crowd, that kind of composure becomes rare enough to look almost supernatural. But it is not supernatural. It is trained. Every insult is a rehearsal. Every moment of disrespect is a test of ownership. Every urge to react is a crossroads between ego and sovereignty. You do not need to win every exchange. You need to stop losing yourself in them. And maybe that is the most unsettling thing you can do to a dishonest world: remain unowned. If this spoke to something real in you, write stillness in the comments. And if there is one kind of disrespect you still find hardest to stay calm through, at work, in family, in relationships, share that too. Sometimes naming the battleground is the first step toward mastering it.